Love, it has been good to me this time around. Things were ever bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact and I can find
Abso-freaking-lutely. So welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to everybody in the live feed. If you want to be involved in the show, you can comment in the live feed, and you can also tweet us, and we will be taking your calls later on in the show. Welcome back to the show, Andrea. How is the world with you?
Well, the world isn't bad. I mean, I'm up here in La La Land. I'm in LA this afternoon. Came up here to work on a TV pilot that I've been working on for a few months. Super excited. That should get going in July, called West Coast Weekly. And then after I finish with you tonight, I'm going to be heading over to CNN International to do some debating.
Wonderful. What show are you going to be on CNN?
Well, it's CNN International, which is, I'm not exactly sure where all it broadcasts around the world. You can, it's kind of like CNN, I guess, is kind of like ESPN, where they have different channels and different feeds. So not everybody, gets it as a part of their cable package. So, check your local listings to see if you get it. I'm going to be on at 12:30 East Coast time, 9:30 Pacific time tonight, and then at 1:30 a.m. East Coast time, 10:30 Pacific. I'm going to be debating a gal, Carolyn Heldman. She's been a lot on O'Reilly Factor and Hannity and different shows for years.
Right. Absolutely. CNN features quite heavily in our first story, which we're going to jump into very quickly in just 1 second. Our guest today, I forgot to say, I'm sorry, we had lots of technical problems, as you do with live shows. Our guest tonight is Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck, who will be joining us in part 2. Oh, yes, 3. So I don't know about you, Andrew, but my blood is kind of boiling today. Not just because of the kind of things that happened yesterday, but the reaction of what happened yesterday, of some people who feel that they can condone bad behavior because it happens to be, from someone that they like. Because to me, bad behavior is bad behavior, whoever does it. And the concern for me is that if we advocate that bad behavior is okay because it's someone we like, then we're not really kind of being true. And obviously I'm referring to Kathy Griffin, who... I'm sorry. We're having lots of technical issues here tonight. Just talk amongst yourselves and pass around the popcorn. I am, of course, talking about Kathy Griffin, who did a photo shoot and a video shoot, and basically shared images of herself with an effigy of that was supposed to look like Donald Trump's head that was bleeding, that looked like it had been decapitated from his body. And the worst thing about it for me is, because, we've obviously known that this bitch will do and say whatever she needs to do in order to get attention, but his kids saw this and thought that something bad had happened to his father. And you can imagine that would be true when we live in a country where people talk smack about his dad and want to do bad things to him. So that was a concern for me but I was glad to hear today that CNN had fired Kathy Griffin from the annual New Year's Eve program, which she co-hosted with anchor anchor person and Anderson Cooper. Now, the network just made the announcement via Twitter, and they said CNN has terminated our agreement with Kathy Griffin to appear on our New Year's Eve program. CNN public relations account had tweeted that. The termination comes one day after the comedian posted the photo and video of her holding a fake severed head of President Donald Trump. She later apologized for the photo, but she didn't apologize to the president directly, saying it went too far and removed it. Mr. Trump tweeted about the photo earlier on today, writing that Griffin should be ashamed of herself, and said, "My children, especially my 11-year-old son Barron, are having a hard time with this. Sick!" Exclamation point. CNN issued a statement on Tuesday night condemning Griffin's video and saying that they were evaluating the New Year's Eve plans. While that date is far away, the network is under pressure to take action, and Trump's son Donald Jr. tweeted at Jake Tapper. Anderson Cooper, who has now hosted the New Year's Eve telecast with Griffin for the past decade, said that he was appalled by the photo shoot that Griffin took part in. It's clearly disgusting and completely inappropriate. Now, the first thing I want to ask you about this, Andrea, is would we be having the same conversation if a conservative comic had done the same thing with the head, with an effigy of the head of President Obama?
Well, first of all, I don't even think we would be having that conversation, because I can't think of one conservative who would do anything like that. Not any real conservative. I can't even imagine it. You know,
No.
But certainly if one did do this, it wouldn't. Let's say Sean Hannity did it. Right now, the left has been trying to get Sean Hannity off the air for no other reason than the fact that he actually wanted an investigation done for Seth Rich's murder, given some of the sketchy circumstances surrounding it and his possible ties to WikiLeaks.
Right.
And for that, the left wanted him off the air. Can you imagine if Sean Hannity had done a video like this? He would have already had to leave the country with his family.
Right.
Okay?
Absolutely.
You know, yeah. So the double standard, it took CNN too long, quite frankly, and an enormous amount of pressure for them to do the right thing. I will say, though, that I get a little squeamish, though, with the whole thing of pressuring. You know, I'm hearing today arguments being made from even conservatives that this is the reason why we need to create more laws surrounding speech. So, you know, I also want to caution people that, you know, you can go too far in a situation like this that can end up hurting everybody.
Right. I totally agree. But I agree. We can't. You know, we shouldn't be censoring speech. However, you know, when I look at I'm going to name names. When I look at Rosie O'Donnell's account on Twitter and see that she accuses the president of being a rapist, of being a killer, and having blood on his hands, and all of these things, it kind of concerns me that Twitter can censor, you know, Sadie Saucier, a Navy vet wife, for sharing her charity link too many times. But you can call the president anything you like. You can tweet pictures of, you know, fake beheadings of the president, ISIS style, but share a charity link and you're banned. Now, I don't want there to be censorship, but I kind of think that people should start some self-censorship, because if you know, I'm a comedian and I say some things and I get it wrong from time to time, but you know, I have never once and never would say anything that controversial about Obama or his kids or his wife. And I've even chastised people for doing it, because let's face it, there are enough things to talk about with these people without going there.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've gone, the left has successfully taken us to a place in our society to where proper manners and boundaries are no longer observed, at least for the left. See, you know, I think Kathy Griffin was shocked today to find out that she, you know, had this kind of backlash, because I think the left had gotten themselves convinced that they could do anything that they wanted to do and get away with it, while, you know, holding the right to a completely different standard, and that's not really the case. So I'm feeling a little bit better about America today.
Me too.
You know, as a result of some of the backlash. What I'm saying, and I think that that's the way these things should go down. I think there should be some good old-fashioned public shunning done of people that don't observe proper manners and behavior, that there is such a on. There are some boundaries that you should not cross, and
Right.
that's being a perfect example of it. However, what I'm saying is I don't really want to go towards a place where there's legislation around speech, because I argue on behalf of people's rights to say legally whatever disgusting foul thing they want to say. Because the left has been really pushing for a long time to try to get hate speech legislation as a way to try to control conservative speech. And
Right.
so, I don't want legislation around it. I will argue to the death for Rosie O'Donnell to say whatever crappy stuff she wants to say about Trump, as long as it's not inciting violence.
Right.
Just like the only restriction I'm okay with on speech is you can't shout fire in a crowded theater.
Right.
In terms of legislation.
Absolutely. But, here's the thing that bothers me. It's actually about respect. For me, you don't have to like the president, but there has to be a little bit of respect for that office. And when comedians are making reference to him, having sexual relations with his daughters and things like this, again, I would say to you, if anybody had even dared utter something like that about Obama and his kids, there would have been World War II, and it would have been racist too. I just want the same level of respect for this president as we had to for a president that we didn't hold kind of, we didn't legitimize him. Do you know what I mean? His whole term of office was a crapshoot for the United States, but we still had to be polite about it.
Well, yeah, we weren't even allowed to criticize him on policy without being called a racist.
No.
And it's all the double standards. Speaking of double standards, this is a woman who accused Sarah Palin of being responsible for Gabby Giffords
Right.
being shot because of Sarah Palin's
Using the crosshairs on a map.
Yeah, when Sarah Palin had a political map with districts in the crosshairs, when Gabby Giffords got shot, she tried to blame Sarah Palin
Right.
for that. Meanwhile, she thinks it's okay to hold his head. She's absolutely a foul, disgusting person. And what I thought was really interesting was how immediately, I think one of the reasons why CNN and some of the people on the left started pushing back, because the similarities between her and the left with ISIS and those movements could not be denied.
Right, exactly.
And you saw the images side by side. And I've been arguing for a long time that, the difference is just in degrees, really, with the movements. And in fact, to me, the left has been partnering, and one of the reasons why they've been excusing Islam and even some of its Sharia crap is because it's natural partner for them.
I don't disagree, and the concern for me is when they can kind of look away at this kind of thing and say, oh, it's okay. I've as a comedian, I've always hated this ideology, oh, I can say what I please because I'm a comedian, because that's not true. It's about not pushing respect and decency too far.
Remember when the guy from the actor, comedian who played Kramer
Yes.
in Seinfeld?
Yeah.
He went off the rails one night, he was being heckled, and he started using the N-word at some people in the audience.
I remember.
His career was over. O-V-E-R.
Yeah.
When Paula Deen had to admit under oath that she at one point in the 60s in the Deep South, like so many other people of her generation, used the N-word, she was fired immediately from Food Network and publicly shunned, lost her entire career.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that was wrong to happen to her, but to hear people come out today or yesterday and say, oh, well, she's an artist. Oh, this was art. And her apology was basically akin to saying that she just made a crappy joke. No, this wasn't like a bad knock.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
But that's how she tried to pass it off.
Yeah, and she didn't even apologize directly to the president, which was of concern for me. But I want to touch on something you said, because I saw today some ball player, because obviously I'm not very au fait with ball players, because I'm not really the sporting type and don't watch sports. But he was a black guy, and someone had sprayed the N-word on his gate at his big mansion in LA where he lives, and And whilst I find that abhorrent, I think that America needs to move the hell on, because, you know, his response was, oh, you know, well, America is very racist. I mean, there is racism in America, but I hate this ideology that just because you're white, you're a racist, or just, you know, just because some people out there do behave that way and do use those analogies, that we're all like it, because we're not. And it infuriates me from the perspective that, you know, even that, I'm sure you've heard of Joy-Ann Reid. She's accused me of being a racist 3 times on Twitter because I just had issue about Barack Obama. And that infuriates me. The people in the media can call other people in the media a racist just because someone has agreed with someone who happens to be black. I mean, it's no secret. You know, I've had three relationships in my life as an adult, and only one of them was with a white person. So how racist am I really? But I'm hating this, where we're going in America, that it's okay to accuse everybody of being racist, because there are some people out there that steal from grocery stores, but it doesn't mean that we all do, does it?
Well, right. I mean, it's like, I can't tell you how many times during the course of every week that some liberal, typically a white person, in fact, I don't think it's ever come from a black person, but a white, where I get called the C word every week. Does that mean that every white person hates white women? Or hates women in general because I'm called the C word? No.
Right.
That's just their way of lashing out at me because they're angry at me over, you know, my political views. It doesn't mean that that person hates women, or, you know, I mean, so, you know, it's not that I'm saying that words don't matter, because words do matter.
They do.
I use the N-word, and I try to speak to people respectfully. I try to get my views across in a way that's on the merits of the argument versus personal attacks. But sometimes personal attacks are just... Let me use another example. When I'm in restaurants, I overhear men so many times talking so ugly about women, and it doesn't mean that they hate women, and it doesn't mean they hate white women. It's sometimes men are crude, and they talk about women's appearances and stuff. You know, it doesn't mean that they hate all women. You know, we're a little too sensitive and a little too much. Everybody's looking to be a victim somehow, some way.
Yeah. Absolutely, but what concerns me is that what some people are doing is they're sewing this into the narrative of our country, and I don't like that. Because yeah, we do need to stamp out racism, but let's not pretend that it's as big a deal as some people are making out. You know, the ideology is.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Honey, well, I was just going to say, and I don't know that we can really stamp that out. Just like we can't stop some men from sitting around in a bar or restaurant by themselves, you know, looking and making ugly sexual comments about women that they don't find attractive.
Right.
I mean, you know, we can't control or legislate away, or even through society, get rid of, you know, bad behavior. Or that some people are going to be ruder than other people. We just can't. You know, if that's part of the false quest of the utopian left, to think that you can legislate away that kind of stuff. And all that really does is have people too hyped up over it. And, you know, and now when we have a true act of real evil and hate, like what Kathy Griffin did, it's kind of muddied a little bit.
I totally agree. I'm not suggesting that we legislate against these things, but I still think it's imperative to stand up to them, whichever side of it that you actually happen to be on. But you know, one of the stories we're gonna discuss later on, just some of the terminology used. I mean, you know, I was called a white supremacist, and I laughed, because I'm like, how can I be a white supremacist when I spent 10 years, you know, in a relationship living with a black guy? How does that make me a white supremacist? You know, if anything, it just despairs me so much that in 2017 in the United States that we have to go to these lengths. You can disagree with me. You know, I wrote a very interesting article last year called Where Are the Xanderphobes? Because what I was saying was everyone that disagreed with me based upon this, you know, BS ideology in America, that they were Xanderphobic. But obviously that is ridiculous. But what is ridiculous is that we're still having to challenge this stuff.
Well, yeah, you know, and this is by design, because, you know, Obama did everything he could from the minute he got into office
He did.
to divide America
Andrea seems to have disappeared for a second, but there are kind of like weather conditions. I'm gonna close the phone with her so she can call back because I'm guessing that's what happened. Joan is saying there's no sound on her end. I would try refreshing your page. I want to say hi to everybody in the live feed. Hey to Dave, hey to Nick, hi to Connie, hi to Joan, hi to Shyster, hi to Raymond, welcome to Gina, welcome to CV Burton, welcome to Dave, hi to, who else have we got? Chet, who's going to be joining us very soon. Welcome to Tony, and anybody else I've missed because I can only see so far back. We're having phone problems with, let me just see. Hello? Hello? We're having some phone problems here with Andrea. But let us know what you think in the live feed. Was it acceptable for Kathy Griffin to do what she did, and should she lose sponsorship for this? But was it just, a cheap trick in order to kind of gain attention, which I think that it was. That doesn't make it right. Hi. Hello, Pizza Hut. How can I help you?
Oh, I'll have a large pepperoni.
You want a large pepperoni? Would you like fries with that?
Yeah, I want fries and I want it.
Would you like a side of Maxine Waters for 50 cents?
No, you gotta pay me 50 mils for me to take that hat.
I know.
I don't want her wig either.
Oh, no, you can't talk about the wig because that's racist, because wig is a race now, too, people. So welcome back to Andrea. We've been having some severe weather conditions tonight here on the East Coast. It's like 75 degrees, but we've just had this thunderstorm. So it's surprising that you haven't seen me kind of like going like this, because they don't like the thunder. No, I wasn't looking at my chest hair. I was hiding from the thunder. So I want to change the subject so we get another one in before we speak, before Chet joins us. Now, it's been kind of, I was really proud of the Donald. I don't know if I'm still allowed to call him that, but I'm going to call him that because it's a term of endearment. I was proud of him this week when he stood up to those a-holes in Europe and told them that they should be paying at their fair share for NATO, or that they shouldn't be using the facility. And I'm concerned about this ideology that because President Trump puts America first, that's bad or wrong. Just because the previous incumbent didn't give two hockey sticks about the country, it doesn't mean that the president shouldn't. So it's expected that this week he's going to withdraw the United States from the landmark global climate agreement, because this global warming thingy that's going on. And apparently, according to Chelsea Clinton, it's also related to bad parenting. A White House official said on Wednesday, though Trump and aides were looking for caveats in the language related to the exit and had not made a final decision, leaving the deal would fulfill a central campaign pledge, but would anger international allies who spent years in difficult negotiations that produced an accord to reduce carbon emissions. Now, Mr. Trump faced considerable pressure to hold the deal during the visits with the European leaders and Pope Francis on his recent visit abroad. Now, the official who insisted on anonymity to discuss the decision before the official announcement said the president and his aides were finalizing the details of a pullout. Mr. Trump himself tweeted that he will be announcing his decision on the Paris Accord over the next few days. And while Mr. Trump currently favors an exit, he has been known to change his mind and is thinking on decisions and tends to seek counsel from a range of inside and outside advisors, many with differing agendas until the last minute. Now, what do you make of this, Andrea? I am sick of, Europe holding a knife to our throats and telling us what to do with it, with things that are not necessarily about them being good for America, but America's got to be a good boy and fall into line. And it's not acceptable that we should be kissing Europe's ass all the time, because let's face it, we are America. We might have forgotten that for the last 8 years, but God damn it, we are America.
Well, yeah, we are. And what this is to have us not be America. It's about a movement to a one world government. It's about globalism. It's about how dare Donald Trump not go along with that plan. And
Right.
Obama was all about, like Dinesh D'Souza's movie 2016 predicted, Obama was all about weakening America militarily and economically, and help usher America into the one world government. And the guise was going to be through the hoax of global warming, and it is an absolute hoax. Donald Trump was correct in his campaign to call it a hoax, and he was correct to say that we needed to get out of this Paris Accord. And I'm just hoping that he's not going to be listening to his daughter Ivanka and any other, climate change, wackos in his administration. I think Ivanka brings a lot to the table, but not on this issue. I have a real issue with her on this. He's under tremendous pressure, and I think he needs to honor his campaign commitment and not allow himself to be sucked in to go along with this hoax, because what this does is it really weakens, if not completely destroys, our sovereignty as a nation.
Right,
what
exactly.
It does is it puts the control of our country out to the rest of the world, to me.
I totally agree, and I think that is exactly it in a nutshell, because ultimately what we've seen for the last 8 years is that Obama would bend over backwards and forwards for some countries in order to just kind of like, appear to be something that we're not. I mean, do I want accord with other countries? Absolutely, I do, but not at the cost of the United States. And even the thing with the NATO stuff, there are certain countries that have not been paying their fair share and haven't for the past few years, and nobody said anything about it. But you know who else I'm kind of sick of this week? I'm sick of Angela Merkel. I don't care if she doesn't like our president. I don't care if she doesn't like America. If you don't like us, then don't come here. And if you don't like America, then don't have anything that we've got on offer. Because you've made such a terrific job of being the president of Germany, or whatever you are, the prime minister of Germany. You let all those refugees in and let them mess up your country just like they did in France. And we're not going to do that here. And I think this woman needs to, this woman thinks that she's Hillary Clinton because she thinks she can talk and say exactly what she pleases. And talk is very cheap, but at the end of the day, she'll be needing our backing before long with stuff. And so I think she should, take a step backwards.
Well, I think they all should. I posted on Memorial Day a quote that I saw that somebody posted from the late, great Fred Thompson, who said that America has shed, I don't remember the exact quote, but America has shed more of its blood for the rest of the world than any other nation. Where is the thank you?
Yeah.
Instead of a thank you from these other people, they're trying to shame America? Yeah, are you kidding me? Oh, gone are the days, she lectured, when we could count on other people. The world has been counting on America pretty much alone. We have been carrying the weight. We're a very young country compared to the rest of the world, yet we've been doing all the heavy lifting. We probably have more Americans that have died for the freedoms of other countries and other nations than even our own nation, to provide protections and freedoms for other countries who obviously don't even appreciate it. We had to give up how many thousands of American lives to save the world from Germany?
Yeah.
And their Nazi crap, and she's got the gall to try to criticize an American president?
Yep. Shut your pie hole, Merkel. You heard it here.
Yeah.
Shut your pie hole. I just have grave concerns. And even some people in America are saying that we should do this and we should do that to appease Europe. You know what? Screw Europe. This is America. We have to start focusing on America and Americans and doing what is good for America and Americans, because that's not happened for the last 8 years. And the ultimate with all of this for me is that what are they going to do if we don't carry on with this Paris Accord? It's not like they can sue us. I mean, I think we should reduce carbon emissions, but we shouldn't have a knife to our throat to do it. It should be for America to decide for itself how they're going to do it and what they're going to do. Let's face it, Donald Trump is not the first one to have issues about this. Do you remember the First Date Summit when George Bush went? He said that all of the other countries should reduce their carbon emissions so America can increase theirs. So he's not the first one to have issues with it. But I want to talk for a second about global warming. Oh, sorry, I fell asleep for a second there. I want to talk for a second about global warming because I'm not a scientist, but from the research that I've done, our planet is cyclical and goes through weather systems that last for hundreds of years and thousands of years, and they keep going round and round and round. And so for this ideology that about global warming, is a myth of the left, and I really hope the president doesn't get sucked into believing that this is true. But by the same token, I have to add, I think that we do need to take better care of the planet for those that are coming in the future, but I don't think we should have a knife held to our throat in order to do it.
Well, what I think we need to do is we need to going forward have America first and protect our nation. You talked earlier about being accused of being a white supremacist. Now, if you want to have America be a sovereign nation, recognize its borders, enforce immigration laws, and enact policy that helps put our nation first, you're an evil, bigot, racist.
Yeah, exactly.
And really, that's ridiculous because if you think about all the good that we've done around the world, we could not have done that had we not been the nation that we were before the left decided to transform it into a socialist nation.
Absolutely.
Now, we're not going to be able to provide any good for the world if we don't continue to be a sovereign nation, have our own laws that have to do with our domestic policy, our foreign policy, as well as our environment for ourselves and for our nation. And that's what we need to do. Just like every family member needs to put their own family first. They don't leave their door open with a refrigerator full of food for any Tom, Dick, and Harry that wants to come in and squat. Okay?
Yeah, any Tom, Dick, or Xander. So be careful. Don't leave your refrigerator door open because I will be there, especially if there's cold pizza in the refrigerator. I just want to take a second and introduce our guest because he's going to be calling in a minute, and we're going to be asking him about this global warming BS. He is, of course, Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. He's a friend of ours and a friend of the show, and he is co-host of a show that goes out Sundays 3 till 5. It's a 2-hour show. Can I take your order?
Yeah, this is Angela Merkel. I want to know if you're a potato.
Get off the line, you Nazi bitch, and get your own house in order before you try and tell us what to do in America. This is, of course, it's not Angela Merkel. It is Chet Chet Martin, who joins us live from Long Island. How's it going? You're live with myself and Andrea Kaye.
Hey, Xander. Hey, Andrea. It's sad I have German heritage, and to look at her. But I have to tell you, man, Xander, it's not a pie hole when you tell her to shut it. With Merkel, it's a potato hole. Because that woman is Mrs. Potato Head. No doubt about it.
You heard it.
Disgusting.
You heard it here first.
I'm so happy the way Donald Trump's trip ended and the way he got everybody on edge. Mr. Macaroni, Mrs. Merkel, the laundry list goes down and down the line. It's a lot of food jokes in there, but we can get past that, I guess.
Absolutely. So tell us, first of all, what do you think about this global warming, and is it related to bad parenting, as Chelsea Clinton suggests?
No, it created ISIS, don't you know? It's when Obama went to the sub base in New London, and when he lectured our troops, our sub base, that we have to be concerned because that's what creates terrorism. And it's a sick religion. That's all global warming is. It's the follicle left's religion. I'm telling you, man. It's a joke. All you have to do, like Savage says, is go look up at the Volscar ice caps, and that'll tell you everything you need to know, that they're growing.
Right.
They're growing. They're not melting.
Well, there you go. You see, you're obviously just what's the word? You're an anti-global warmingist.
He's a denier. He's a denier.
You're a denier. How dare you? Where's that mute button? So I wanna kind of rewind a little, because I know that like Ann and I, you've been a little bit pissed with Kathy Griffin and her actions. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about how you feel about Miss Griffin with her life on the hit list? Because I hear she's had a few death threats today.
Well,
not from me.
Well, she should. Well, I don't want to say she should, but listen, I think beyond asking me, how about asking the family of journalists James Foley and Stephen Sotloff what they think about the picture that she put out there?
Yes. Yes.
You know, it's thousands and thousands of people, Andrea, across the Middle East that get decapitated. Go over to Saudi Arabia and see if those people find it funny. Kathy?
Yeah.
You know, it's not funny. It's ridiculous. You're washed up. I know why you did it. But it was a bad move on her part, and an ignorant, arrogant one, in my estimation. And it's funny, Xander. All these people we see reaching out to put threats upon Donald Trump. We went over Snoop Dogg and
Right.
Little Puppy, whatever his name is, Little Bow Wow.
Yeah.
And it's all these washed-up has-beens that are doing these really, really offensive, raunchy throws at Donald Trump, and I think that's why. They can put them back into a spot that they haven't been in for a while.
I absolutely agree 200%. And the thing is, for me, I see what you're saying. I'm not surprised. I don't think anyone deserved death threats. But when you put things out there that are indicative of the president being hurt, because let's face it, being beheaded would hurt because he would be dead. That is of a concern to me. But I want to ask you something from the perspective of being a parent. I don't have kids. I know you've got fur babies, Andrea, but how would it be for your kids if they saw someone holding what was an effigy of your head with blood dripping out of it?
Well, they wouldn't my kids would be frightened. They'd have nightmares about it.
Yeah.
My children are 7 and 5, but Donald's youngest is 11. I can't imagine what he's feeling right now. This woman committed treason, in my opinion. I think it should go far beyond where it's going right now. I really hope they launch an investigation into this, and I think the people that created these photos should also have to answer.
Right.
I do.
Because the concern is they did nothing about Snoop Dogg and Bow Wow, and I don't know if Madonna got a visit from the FBI, but I've been saying for long enough it's time to be tough. And I don't care if people think that, it makes Donald the big bad wolf for doing it, but this is basically saying that you want the president dead. And to me, that is of concern. What say you, Andrea Kaye?
Well, yeah. I'm somebody who likes the letter of the law to be followed. I have read different statutes. There are some people that believe she absolutely broke the law, and if she did, I would like to see her prosecuted. If she didn't, then I think she deserves the public shunning that she's getting, and I'm hoping that this might shock people into realizing how bad we've gotten in this country with the culture on the left, that they are literally making themselves look like ISIS. Good grief.
Right.
Maybe they'll tone it down a little bit. Because, there's no way that the left right now can be saying there's any kind of moral equivalency. See, that's the game they like to play, right? That there's some there's no moral equivalency that they can draw here. She went so far to the left that even CNN fired her.
Exactly.
You gotta go pretty far left when you get fired from CNN.
But I want to throw something into the pot here because, I'm sick of hearing liberals saying about how much it's costing for security for Melania and Barron to stay in New York City. Maybe if there weren't so many damn threats against these people, then they wouldn't need to spend so much money on damn security.
Good point.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I like something that Andrea said before I came on, and that was the line that's blurred, and I think that's kind of what you said, Andrea, between between ISIS and Antifa. And I said, it's an interesting question. And I asked him, I said, why are you asking me that, Brandon? And he goes, well, they dress awfully similar, and they seem to have the same tactics.
Right.
The only difference is that they're not chopping any heads off or burning any cities down completely.
Yeah.
But, you know, the truth is that there are a lot of similarities in there, and I guarantee you that there is a way that they've infiltrated into Antifa. So I think Andrea's right. I think ISIS is somehow, in some way, in this country, infiltrated the left, and that's a scary thing.
It is.
Well, I think that Islam is a political ideology. I've been arguing for a long time that it needs to be declared a political ideology that happens to have a religious component, and because that way that we can better fight it. Because first of all, it's the truth. When you look at it from the fact that it's a political ideology, you see a lot of similarities to the left. They both want a centralized government with full power over its citizens to control every aspect of our lives. And that's one reason why you've got Maxine Waters going to a mosque in Southern California 3 years ago telling them that anybody who would vote against Sharia is a bigot. Because the left knows this. And where was the investigation into Barack Obama and his ties with the Muslim Brotherhood?
Absolutely.
You tell me.
And Andrea's 110% correct. The Muslim Brotherhood has infiltrated our government, and the fish rots from the head down, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. And hopefully we'll get President Trump for more than 4 years, because it's going to take a lot of time to give this government an enema and clean it out.
You can't fix 8 years of misadministration in 4. And I think it's hilarious that, you know, when Barack Obama's first term of office, in his first 4 years, people are saying, oh, you can't fix 8 years of Bush in 4 and all this BS, but they still expect Donald Trump to fix 8 years of misadministration from Obama in 120 days or whatever it is. I want to shift the narrative a little. I want to talk a little about another topic because we have time to do so, and that's with regards to the guy, I don't like naming people that do these things, the 35-year-old guy who stabbed the people in Portland with regards to the fact that he was verbally attacking 2 Muslim women. Then 2 guys came along and he stabbed them and their dad slit their throats. He was up at court this week and repeatedly had verbal outbursts in the court, basically saying about, cleansing America, getting rid of all these people that disagree with him. And so now they're actually calling him a white supremacist. But as someone who keeps getting called a white supremacist, I feel a little slighted, because I don't want anybody dead. I don't want to slit anybody's throat. I don't want to cut anybody's head off. I don't even want to be appearing in a picture with something that looks like I've cut somebody's head off, Kathy Griffin. But the guy was saying free speech or die, and he said, you've got no safe place. This is America. Get out if you don't like free speech. And he said while he was being arraigned on murder charges before Judge Paul G. Crowley at the Multnomah Justice Center in Portland. Now, the concern for me is the twisting of this narrative from the perspective of, it's kind of a suggestion, it's being suggested by a number of people that this is a direct result of the ideology of not wanting to bring refugees into the country, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. Others have said it's a kind of, it's a revenge attack for what happened in Manchester, and I do see how those things happen, but I don't think this guy was even aware of that. But I want to come to you first, Chet. Tell us what you make of this. Is this just another attempt of the left to twist things to their own narrative?
Well, yeah, of course it is, but this is a direct result of liberal laws and liberal jurisdiction. The guy already had been convicted of attempted murder and then had been convicted on a rape charge.
Right.
So what's he doing on the street?
Yeah.
Does anyone ever ask that simple question? Okay, he's a white supremacist. Okay, he's got a violent background. Okay, he's on the street. So, it doesn't matter who he was trying to kill. Killers kill, right? Period.
Yeah.
Point blank.
Exactly.
A cold-blooded killer is a cold-blooded killer. So, of course, where this crime took place, we know it's liberal, and the liberal judge let him out early, and he went and he killed some people. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
It's because of Donald Trump now?
Yep.
Give me a break.
Yeah, I think the two scoops...
Not to mention the fact that supposedly this guy was like a Jill Stein, Bernie Sanders supporter.
Yes.
So, it's so, okay, all right, left. He's a white supremacist. Well, isn't that the history of the Democrat Party? Okay, I see you.
I want to ask you, Andrea, do you think it's anything to do with the fact that the 2 scoops of ice cream that the Donald had at that White House event were vanilla? Is it because those 2 scoops of vanilla ice cream were in fact white ice cream? And that was a racial statement by eating white ice cream rather than chocolate ice cream?
You're right, man. He was offered chocolate fudge on top of his vanilla ice cream, and he refused.
Oh, you can't do that. That's interracial.
Impeach. Impeach Donald Trump now because he turned down chocolate ice cream. Now, Connie, China. Obviously, I'm being facetious, but this is how ridiculous we've got in 2017. That indirectly Donald Trump is responsible for what went on in Portland. Now, I had trouble at the DMV yesterday and today registering my new vehicle, and I think Donald Trump is behind it. I really do. And if you do too, I think you should call the White House and tell him to tell the DMV to give me my my vehicle tax back, because it's not acceptable, and this is America. And of course, I'm being ridiculous, but this is how ridiculous it's got, isn't it?
Well, the other part of this story, and I want to put this in context and not shoot myself in the foot or sound cold-hearted, but when you have terrorist attacks happening around the world multiple times, I mean, we see it more often than not in Europe, but we see it over here a lot too because the FBI has dropped the ball, by the way. But this is bound to happen, right, guys? I mean, this is the way society reacts. I mean, I don't want to excuse it. I don't want to stand up for it. I'm not doing that. But it's Murphy's Law. I mean, unfortunately, when he saw these women in these hijabs, he reacted because he's a hateful person.
Right.
And he saw, he sees anyone that's like that as a threat, right? So that's the way he reacted, and 2 men died, unfortunately. But we have a culture that's come in that is so culturally diverse from us that I think we're playing a real dangerous game here.
I think we are too, and then if we're expecting people to kind of fall in line and just accept it. But I've said for long enough, and my father said this, and my father was shouted down for it. He said that, because we've placated, with this, PC, political correctness, because we've placated, foreigners, and I know I'm not allowed to use that term, but I mean people not born in the country, especially those with religions that are not the same as ours, that we've created this problem by allowing that level of political correctness. That and the fact that not enough people are sharing the Xrad video. But Andrea, what do you say to this, especially the Xrad video part?
Well, definitely, not enough people are sharing the Xrad. I mean, that's really the biggest issue of our days, Ann.
It is. It absolutely is.
Correct that immediately.
Yeah. Press your buttons now. Press that share button. It costs nothing to do it. You can't catch a disease from doing it. Press the share button now. There is an aversion out there. I pray you will be healed from your aversion to pressing the share button. But do you believe our political correctness for the last 20 years has kind of contributed to all of this thinking?
Oh, I think it's not just contributed to all this thinking. I think it's literally killed us.
Right.
The woman who came in on the fiancé visa and shot up people in San Bernardino and killed them.
Yeah.
Had they looked at her social media sites, they would have seen who she was and what she was coming here to do. But because of political correctness, the Department of Homeland Security has been completely scrubbed of any investigation into radical Islam, and not even looking at their
Right.
off of it.
Yep.
Because it involved investigating a religious group.
Right.
So it absolutely is literally killing us.
It is. British radio host Katie Hopkins. She's pretty outspoken. She's anti lots of things. She's a conservative. She doesn't like fat people. I don't usually agree with her on a lot, but she said this week, and she got fired for it. She said that the reason why these things are happening is because people don't want to be called racist because they're looking into it. Do you know what? I wouldn't, if I was doing that job, I wouldn't care if you called me a racist, because what is important is to keep people safe, no matter what people think of you. Chet, what say you?
Well, I think it, well, look, man, I want to know, did Kathy Griffin get a month-long ban on Facebook yet?
No. No,
you know
she didn't.
We're being picked on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the right is being picked on. Conservatives are being picked on. And what they want to do is they want to shut us down. But it's up to us to carry the torch and not shut down.
Do you want to?
We have to carry the torch and be stronger than ever. And
We do.
more steadfast and more clear and concise with our messaging, which is what you do and what Andrea Kaye does. And as long as we patriots keep doing that, they can't shut us down. We're too strong and we're just too good.
But Andrea, do you want to jump in on this one? Because for the last 3 weeks, you've done your show on Facebook Live. You've gone to post it, and they've lost it. Now, I'm not really a conspiracy theory person, but with what's happening with the rest of us, don't you think that Facebook is messing with conservative commentators?
Well, yeah, I think Facebook is, and Twitter is as well. You talked about Sadie earlier on the show, and,
Yeah.
and what they've done with her, and we know that Twitter's been doing something called shadow banning conservatives. Meanwhile, they don't do anything to shut down anything related to radical Islam, and that's all political correctness. But, I tell you who I blame for some of this as well, and it's George W. Bush, because after 9/11, he went out of his way to suck up to Islam, and he was the one who started this stupid refugee program of bringing them here. And Nani Darwish, who wrote the book, Now They Call Me Infidel, she says, we must be courageous enough to name our enemy and its
Right.
location. The enemy is Islam, and the location is here.
Yes. Absolutely. That is a great point to end on, because we are out of time. Thank you to everyone who's made today's show possible. Thanks to our guest, Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. Tell people where they can find out more about you and where they can hear about your show, sir.
Well, before I do that, Andrea, I have to get you on sometime. I'm going to send you something soon, darling.
Okay.
Listen, for Freedom on Deck, just go to freedomondeck.com. At freedomondeck.com, you can follow us on Twitter. You can like us on Facebook. You can email us directly from the site. You can see Xander and you can see Andrea over there. You can click on their pages right there. Also, please listen to us from 3 to 5 Eastern Time, Sundays on 949newsnow.com. That's 949 News Now and Stimulating Talk, WJJF FM radio. And this week we're going to have a few of your favorites. We got Julio Rivera, and we got your boy, the Truth Fairy. He's coming on with us. And
Oh, wonderful. Thomas S. Schmidt.
Thomas Schmidt. So I appreciate you guys having me on. I had a great time.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure. I will speak to you very soon. Chet, have a great week, sir.
Good night, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Hi there.
That was Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. Make sure you check him out. Make sure you check out the show Sunday, 3 till 5 Eastern Time. Thank you to my glamorous, wonderful, beautiful co-host, the fabulous Andrea Kaye from The Andrea Kaye Show. Tell people where they can find you and when they can listen to your show.
Oh, thank you, Van. Always great to be with you. My show is Tuesdays on AM 1170 in San Diego, 6 p.m. Pacific time. I record it during the day at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and I broadcast that via Facebook Live. Hopefully they won't mess with me next Tuesday. And you can always hear me here with Zan on Wednesdays.
Absolutely. You I know you've got some more hits tonight. Good luck with those. Break a leg. And thank you so much, Andrew. You have a great week and lots of love.
You too, baby.
Take care. Bye-bye. That was the fabulous Andrea Kaye. Make sure you check her out at www.andreakayshow.com. We will be back with you tomorrow night, God willing, same time, same place, with our usual Thursday crew, Mr. Swoop, and David Weissman. You can support the show. You can support the show. It costs you absolutely nothing. You can click the share button right now before you go. Click that share button. You can buy the book, which is called The Boy from Beyond the Ice House, which is written by me. It's semi-autobiographical. You can buy the album, which is called The Platinum Prequel, and you can also donate to the show. I'm just sharing the links now in the live feed. But the one that will cost you nothing is to be able to share it, to share the show, so we get more people interested and maybe get another hour for the show. Thanks to everyone who's made today's show possible. Thanks to everybody in the live feed. We do love having you. I missed you all last night. I wasn't able to do the show as I wasn't feeling 100%. But I will be back with you tomorrow for Making America Great via our Facebook Live broadcast. I really do love you all. I absolutely do. And I miss you guys last night. And I will be back tomorrow. From the heavens, the backboard falls down. So I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Love, it has been good to me this time around. Things were they were bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact, and I can find